Love, light, and blessings. Shamanic Awak Priestess here. And today we're going to have a spirit chat. I love spirit chats. So just chit chat and things like that. And today's topic is basically, I started off the idea for this video saying like spirits have feelings. But then as I started to write down my ideas of different topics that I wanted to talk about under that term and under that idea, it started to evolve into something more intricate. So then I decided to make it a spirit chat video. Basically, I think it, instead of spirits have feelings, it turned into a topic about basically before you even think about working with a deity in whatever tradition or path that you're doing, there's some important questions that you should ask yourself, okay? First and foremost, and this goes together, um, is the spirit truly calling you to work with them? Um, because sometimes we think that a spirit's calling us, but it's more because maybe that spirit somehow has become very popular. It's streaming. You know what I mean? You see it in oracle decks. You see the spirit or the specific deity or god or goddesses or whatever it is that is calling to you, angels, whatever. And everybody's doing it, and then all of a sudden you think that is that spirit or that entity or whatever is calling you as well. So basically ask yourself, is this spirit truly calling me? Like, am I really being called to develop and to have a working relationship with said spirit? Okay, so that's like 1A. 1B also that goes together with this idea is, are we respecting the culture that the spirit or spirits come from? So basically, okay, understanding the culture. So is this a closed tradition? Are these spirits coming from an open tradition? Is this a spirit that you can easily research, find in books, things like that? They're more accessible. Or is this a deity that, even though people tend to write books on it, um, because it being from a closed tradition, we know that only 30% of the stuff is written. The other 70%, you can only really learn hands-on from an actual person of said tradition. So, um, do we understand the culture that the spirits come from, and are we respecting the culture? So is this a culture that's marginalized? For example, a lot of people say they have Native American spirits that call to them. Shamanism calls to me, all these things, but we know that indigenous people all over the world are very oppressed, okay, very marginalized cultures. So their practices tend to be very closed off. You learn from lineages, okay? If you're calling yourself a shaman, you have to come from a actual tradition. If you're talking about shamanism when it relates to a Native American practice or a African shaman from closed traditions, okay? Two, is there a way to research this deity? Like I said, there are certain deities that have become mainstream, so you can get endless amounts of resources. But when we're talking about closed traditions, not so much. You get a lot of people claiming to do things or writing it from an outsider's perspective, and they don't even practice, claim to practice, may not really know things, just regurgitate things that are written in other places, or a lot of literature tends to contradict, so on and so forth. So do you actually have a good source in which to study from? Like I always say, when it comes to closed tradition, nothing beats hands-on mentorship, instruction. When something's meant for you, the doors will open for you, okay? So when we're talking about researching, studying, and learning, okay, we have to ask ourselves this question: do I know what I'm actually doing, right? Because it's very important to understand the energy. If the energy is calling you, what type of energy is this? Is this a nature spirit? Is this a god? Is this a goddess? Is this an orisha? Is this a loa? Is this a fae? Like, what angel, an ancestor, a spirit guide, an entity, whatever it is, spirit, do I actually know how to work with this spirit to manifest certain things? Do I know how to attend to this spirit? Do I actually know how to do rituals for this spirit? Like, do I know what the hell I'm doing? Because when we don't know what we're doing, we can cause harm to ourselves and others around us, right? Because we're all energy, and working with deities and things like that is energy. Okay. Does the deity again come from marginalized people? And if so, if they're truly calling me, how can I work with this spirit in a respectful way, always giving credit to the originators of the culture? And also, am I willing to make that monetary, financial, and energetic investment in said culture to learn how to traditionally work with this spirit? Okay. Understanding if a tradition is open, which means easily accessible, anyone can do it, or is it closed off where it's specifically mostly lineage, oral tradition, that kind of thing, very hard to actually get into. A third thing, also a third area that I wanted to talk about was also building a relationship with the spirits, right? Building a relationship. How would you want to be treated? If you were this said deity, how would you want this person who you're calling to work with you to treat you? Okay. Always treat spirits, entities, deities, loas, god, goddesses, whatever it is that's calling you, in the way that you would want to be treated, right? So if you're meeting somebody for the first time and someone just starts to ask you for things, you're going to feel very offended. Like, I thought you wanted to build a friendship, a relationship with me. Why are you asking me off the bat? I don't even know you like that. Like, I'm drawn to get to know you better, but I'm not necessarily sure if I want to help you yet. Let's develop, let's see how it goes, let's see how we vibe, that kind of thing. Always remember that no matter how much people want to think, like, yes, we are awesome, we are wonderfully made, all of that. I'm going to talk from my personal perspective, from people that I've grown up around, from my experiences that I've grown up in this life, okay? I have always understood that I am not greater than the spirits, right? I was created by something, okay? There are energies and things outside of me that are greater than me, things that I don't always understand. Like, I don't claim to know every single damn thing. And I understand that even when a deity calls to us, they don't need you. We need them to help us in certain areas of our life, because there are deities that specialize in certain areas. So basically, sometimes it tends to be this like elitist, like, I gave you a dusty little incense, so like you need to serve me, as if they're your slaves, as if they're your servant, as if the spirits are subservient to you. And that's not how it works traditionally. Spirits are to be honored and respected. Just like you would want to be honored and respected by anyone that you have a relationship with, you would never want to have a relationship with someone who thinks they're better than you. So at least treat them as equal. Treat them as you would want to be treated. So that is something you should ask yourself. Am I treating my spirits, or these spirits that are calling to me, equal to me, respectfully, in the way that I would want to be treated? And understanding that they don't need you. They're coming to you because you need something. They want to help you get that thing. Okay. Also, measure the way that you will ask for things. So there are people like, you need to demand and all these things. I don't do that. There's a way that you ask, especially depending on what spirit. If I'm talking to a very ancient spirit, so this is an elder spirit, this is an ancestral spirit, possibly there was a shaman or a shapeshifter or something like that, I'm not going to talk to them in the same way that I would talk to somebody that I'm friends with. In that way, I would have a sign of respect, because this person was an elder in their tribe, so on and so forth, or this was a chief, or and let's say, for instance, Oshun is a queen. She's the wife of the king Shango, right? So I would talk to her like I would talk to a queen. Don't know why I snorted, but we're gonna move on. Yeah, Maya, the same thing. She's a queen. She's the mother of creation. She's the mother of Oshun. I mean, the mother of Oshun. She is the mother of Shango, the adopted mother of Shango. So you're gonna treat her like that, like the mother of creation. You're gonna treat Danto, she's a warrior. You're gonna respect her for that and the fact that she's a warrior. Ezilifreda, you're gonna respect her because she's a woman who comes from money. She is self-made. She is coveted. She's beautiful. So you're gonna treat her in that way. So knowing their personalities, knowing their energies, knowing their backstories, things like that. That's all very important. Because there's, again, depending on what type of energy that is, it depends how we will ask the spirits. Like petitioning a gede is completely different, because gedes tend to be more funny. They joke around more. They use colorful language. They curse, that kind of thing. So you will feel more comfortable as if you're talking to like a friend, and you're, having that friend relationship, and you can just uncensor yourself, not disrespect them, but you wouldn't be so formal in the way that you would petition them. So, depending on what energy, are you really acknowledging how you would petition certain spirits, okay? Are you being respectful of that spirit? Okay. Again, like I said, is this deity royalty? Was this deity a chief? Did this deity have some type of position of power? Things of that nature. There's a spirit that I work with that went through a lot of racism and colorism when he was alive. So therefore, because I am someone who doesn't understand what it's like to be a dark-skinned black man, especially around that time, or a dark-skinned black person around that time. I don't understand that struggle, right? I have to address him with certain respect, because certain people that look like me or are lighter than me, because women treated him a certain way, they were not dark-skinned women, so medium complected, light-skinned women, things like that, didn't always treat him right. So I know that about him. So I make sure that I'm very respectful and very formal with this certain spirit when I'm petitioning him for things. And we have a wonderful working relationship, because I always acknowledge that. He was a little bit more hesitant when we first started working together. Yes, he called me to work with him, but I had to understand his protocols and the way that I would address him and things like that. So I have to understand that I have to be respectful. There's certain types of things that certain spirits don't like. Certain spirits like things very clean. Certain spirits only want to talk to you when you're in white. Certain spirits don't like blood. Some spirits don't like alcohol. Some spirits don't like smoke. Like, it depends on the spirit. So are you being respectful in the way you're addressing them, things you're giving them, things of that nature, things that are in their altar, things of that nature. Point number 4, the shrines. The shrines, aka altar, that's what you want to call them. When you're having a shrine, altar, whatever it is that you have where you host your spirits, okay, does this shrine or altar and the images in which you're housing your spirit, is this something that for a fact the spirit likes? Is this a respectful portrayal of that spirit? Is the spirit showing you signs that they like the set offerings you're giving them, the way that you're keeping the altar, and things like that? Godliness is next to cleanliness is next to godliness, is something that I really do believe in, because when you're trying to do more positive purification work, cleaning up a space is going to bring more of a higher vibration. Whereas when you're doing things more malignant, that work tends to be dirtier. You're going to get dirty with it. And it's going to attract that type of energy. So are you letting your food for the spirit to rot out, which is going to draw pests, but it's also going to draw negative energies? Are you refreshing their water, or is the water murky and nasty and smelly? Like, are you maintaining their altars? Are you keeping it clean? Especially because there's certain spirits, they only like to be housed in cleanliness, aka Obatala, Dambala, Aida Welo, things like that. Are you doing anything unclean in front of the spirits? So in other words, there are spirits that do not like to be in people's bedrooms, depending on what tradition you're talking about. In the traditions that I practice, that I do, if you have a partner and you're being intimate with said partner in the bedroom, those spirits find that to be very disrespectful. So they don't want to see you doing that. So they would rather be in a closet, or a room divider or something like that, where you can have your privacy and they can have their privacy as well. So to them, that's unclean. Like, I don't want to see you doing that. Like, we're family. Like, I'm a living entity. Like, I don't want to see that. Are you taking your spiritual bath, or are you addressing the spirits and you're dirty and you're nasty and you smell bad? They don't want to do anything with you when you are like that. So not only are you keeping your space clean, are you keeping your temple, your body clean and respectful when you are addressing these spirits, okay? Always know your audience. So know what works for them, knows what's considered respectful, know what's considered disrespectful. Make sure you refresh and clean those altars so that your energies can always be amplified and raised and all that beautiful stuff. Are you making consistent offerings? So the traditions that I work with, they have certain times of the month, they have feast days, and they also have certain times of the week. And that's the days you will ask them to do things on your behalf, starting workings, petitioning them, as well as giving them offerings. So I give my spirits offerings on a weekly basis, things like that, even when I'm not asking them for things, because it's always nice just to show gratitude. So, and when you're giving these offerings, right, are you giving your best effort? Like, are you giving the best that you can, or are you simply just giving to give, right? Because remember, they know our hearts, okay? They know our hearts. So did this offering really come from the heart? And is the offering clean? Do you constantly clean the space, especially when we're giving raw food? I tend not to leave anything for a day. Like, I'll leave it for a couple hours. That's the deal me and the spirits make. And then I'll put it back into nature. Okay. Number 6, are you giving time and effort to your spirits? Are you giving time and effort to your spirits? Okay. Basically, do you only petition them when you want something? Do you only give them offerings when you want something? Or do you have a genuine relationship with these spirits? Are you willing to give them time and effort? Okay. Are you willing to spend time with them? Okay. Every single day of the week, from Monday through Saturday, I am in ritual with a spirit, whether it's one spirit, 7 spirits, 10. I have a lot of spirits, because of what I do, because of the path that I've been called to, because of my calling. So I have a lot of spirits that I need to attend to on a consistent basis. They all have their days of the week. They all have their feast days. They all have the things they like. So I got to make sure I have what they like. I got to make sure I make time, no matter how many readings I do, no matter how much spells I do, no matter how much homework I do with the kids, or for myself, or no matter what, I have to make time 6 days a week to spend time with them. Okay. And I have to be willing to do that, because that's how you maintain a relationship. It's like any other relationship, whether it's a spouse relationship, children, it's the same thing, because you have to put maintenance in friendships. You have to feed your friendships. You have to feed these relationships. So are you actually spending time with them? Or is it just a statue with some crystals and some cute things, but it just collects dust and you never even look at it? Are you actually putting time into it? Are you actually practicing with them again? Or is it just an aesthetic? Is this relationship with them one-sided? Oh, I only want things when I want things. When I don't want nothing, I leave you alone. When you do things like that, what the spirits tend to do, because they have feelings, is that they'll tend to take things away. There's a Pataki about Oshun, where there was a town which is named after her in Africa. Literally, she saved the children because the children would die in that town. And they said they were going to do all this stuff for her. They ended up forgetting about her after a while, because they were just prosperous. She took all the blessings away because she was hurt. And Elegua said that's how humans are. So she taught them a lesson. When she took her protection away, they came back and petitioned. And because of that, to this day, in that part of Africa, they have a yearly festival day for her, a feast day for her, to celebrate how she protects the children of that town. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody wants to do something, and then once you get what you want, you forget about that energy. They have feelings just like people. That was one thing I loved when I used to do Bible study, when I used to read the Old Testament, and they used to talk about how God got jealous or God was mad. I like that, because it was like a humanized God. That is the same way that I see entities and energies and deities. They have these same human feelings we do, even if they live in a different realm or a different energetic field or that kind of thing. They still have feelings. So nobody wants to feel used. Okay, we have to remember that. So are you being selfish? Do I only want to talk to you when I need something? Now you gave me what I wanted. No offerings for you, just leave you there, dust, whatever. So you're not willing to attend to your spirits. That's very, very, very important. Before you learn any type of spell work, research, learn, 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 build, because spells and rituals mean nothing if you have no relationship with your spirits, okay? All right, number 7, keep your promises to them. If you promise something to a spirit, you need to deliver to said spirit. Again, if you promise something to a spirit, you need to deliver to said spirit. You cannot say to a spirit, I'm going to give you A, B, C, and D, and then fail to give them A, B, C, and D. Okay? You cannot do that. So make sure it is something that you can actually give them. Because when you get your petition, they're going to make sure that you give them what you said you were going to give them. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. Make sure you can deliver it, and make sure that the request you're asking for is realistic, and that the offering you're going to give back or the reward you're going to give back is realistic as well. The more difficult something is, the better it should be the offering as well. Okay? I tend to do that. I have given my spirits extravagant things, parties, all of that. But I make sure that it's something that I can deliver, okay? Listen to their guidance, right? That's what they're here for. So are you being guided to work with them? Like I said, if you are, do your due diligence, do your research, get your mentors, all that good stuff. Pay attention to your dreams. Write them down, journal them. Ask them, okay, you're calling me, find me the right teacher, find me the right way, find me the right resources. Okay, so pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to signs, pay attention to and angel numbers, all these things, all these symbols. Pay attention to your personal readings, pay attention to readings you get with other people. Pay attention to all of that. It's important that when they're giving us messages, we acknowledge those messages, because if we don't, then it discourages them from communicating. It's just like when you communicate with anybody else. If you're telling somebody something, or if you're warning somebody about something and they don't listen to you, it discourages you next time from telling them anything. So one way to really get a strong relationship with your spirits is to listen to their guidance. And if you don't understand what their guidance is, people like me, you can book a reading with me. We can talk about it, and I can decipher that message for you, because I do take on spirits and all that kind of stuff. So, but make sure that you're listening to their guidance. If you need to get a second opinion, do so. Especially if it sounds like something fishy, or you're like, I'm not really familiar with this culture or this spirit. There's nothing wrong with seeking a second opinion, okay? Number 9, don't use your spirits selfishly, okay? Are you only self-serving, like I have said before? Is this a selfish practice? You know, they can read you. They know when your intentions are good. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, I worked with this spirit and they only did malignant stuff, or this and that and the other, or I did rituals with them and da-da-da-da-da, and it didn't work. One, it could be because they never wanted to work with you in the first place. Or the second thing is, they realize you're a selfish person and you're only self-seeking, and they're feeling used, so they're like, I'm not gonna help you do anything. So I'm just not, because when you give me stuff, it's not sincere, it's more demanding, it's like you don't even like me. Number 10, be honest if you want to take on the responsibility, okay? Be honest. Do you really want to take on this responsibility, which can be like a full-time job, you know? Are you willing to make a lifelong commitment to these deities? Are you willing to dedicate yourself to them? Are you willing to do the work to maintain the relationships, to manifest, to learn, to study, to monetary, emotional, physical, mental, all these investments that these spirits require that come from traditions, okay? Number 11, learn what your attributes are. Learn what their attributes are, sorry. And do you actually know what they rule over? I'm going to give you an example. Shango, a lot of musicians, he's great with music. He's great with giving money and all this, and enhancing things and all that. You have spirits that are good for beauty and love, Izilidanto, but she's, money as well. You have Oshun, money, love, pregnancy protection, fertility, all these things, right? Same thing with Yemaya, marriage, love, fertility, psychic abilities, enhancing your craft, like a bunch of stuff. Like, know what areas of your life these spirits are good for, because if you're asking a war spirit for love work, that's not going to work. If you're asking a love spirit who only specializes in love to help you with money, that's not going to work. If you're, you know what I mean? So know which spirit you're petitioning, what their attributes are, what they specialize in, what things in your life can they help you with. Because there's certain spirits even in voodoo that are more concerned about the spiritual condition of your soul, about your spiritual purification. They're not worried about, because they've never been human, about the human condition. So that's not a spirit I will petition about everyday needs, because no offense, they don't care. Like, they just care about. So you have to know basically what attributes, what areas of your life these spirits rule over, so that you can appropriately petition the right ones. Okay. Number 11, learn what, okay, I did that one, sorry. Okay. Number 12, learn what the spirits like and dislike. Okay. Basically, do you know their preferences when it comes to offerings and things, colors, making their altars nice. It doesn't have to break the bank, but then I've done so many hauls from Dollar Tree and all that, and you can be really creative. But there are certain spirits that you do have to pay. They do like the better things in life. So if you're going to serve that type of spirit, make sure you're willing to make that financial investment. Okay. Number 13, reward and show appreciation. Are you practicing gratitude? And what are you learning from this journey? You know what I mean? When your spirits do something nice, are you being grateful? Are you giving them offerings? Are you doing feast days for them? Are you doing parties for them? Fetes and all these kind of things. Like, are you really celebrating the things they've helped you to do, recognizing all the work that you guys have done together, and showing them that you appreciate them in the good times and even in the bad times, right? So are you practicing gratitude, and are you learning with this relationship on this journey that we call life, on our spiritual journey? What are the lessons? And being grateful for those lessons. Also, if it wasn't for all these things I went through, I wouldn't be in this place I am right now. And things like that. You guys allow for certain things to happen so I can be in this place. Okay. Number 14, be consistent. Keep up with your offerings, your feast days, your celebrations, all these things, right? Keep the relationships going. Sometimes just going into the spirit room and just chatting with them, just because sometimes you don't need stuff. You just want to be around their presence. That's a beautiful thing. Are you consistent with that? Or is this more of a trend? Is this because more of it's fun to be witchy, it's popular to be witchy, it's popular to be spiritual, it's popular to be a bruja, it's popular to do voodoo and all these things? Or is this something that you really enjoy? Is this something you're really serious about? Okay. Are you putting in the time, the money, the energy, the dedication? And if you're not, will you be willing to do so in the future? Number 15, nature spirits. Okay. Nature is important in spirituality. A lot of the ATR spirits are spirits of nature, whether they're roots, spirits housed in roots, whether they're spirits housed in train tracks and metal and trees and water and sky and the sun, in the oceans and the rivers, in the rocks, so on and so forth. These are spirits that live in nature, right? So I always tell people the Loa and the Orishas, yes, they're ancestral spirits, but they're also very, very close to like Fae, where, those types of things, elemental, like very earth-based. It's a very earth-based spiritual practice. So, the planet matters. Like, I'm not perfect, but I try to be a better stewardess of the planet, especially when I know like a certain spirit rules over certain things. So if you saying that Yamaya calls to you, right? The oceans are important. The oceans are being destroyed every single day. Maybe there's a non-for-profit that you can donate $3 a month or $5 a month, and in conservation, or saving the whales, or saving the sharks, or whatever, because remember, she rules over the oceans, or things like that. Oh, I love Blegba. Okay, maybe I can donate to some of those charities where they plant a tree for every tree that whatever. So looking for ways to contribute. Maybe you have a garden and you can plant your own trees. That's good for air. Things of that nature. Maybe you can go to your local beach and volunteer to clean up the garbage in the beach, or whatever. Or maybe you're going to recycle better, or maybe you're going to make a promise to use less plastic, or whatever the case may be. I feel like Earth, like trying to work with Mother Earth and trying to heal her. Again, I'm not perfect. Okay, I'm not perfect. Trying to consume less, things like that. That I feel like that's also a way to honor the spirits, right? Because they're nature spirits. So why would we destroy where their spirits are housed, where their spirits have always ruled in their realm? Do you even care about nature? Are you destroying everything? Are you consuming everything? And things like that. So Basically, those are like 15 points that you could kind of think about. Whenever you feel you're being called to something, ask yourself these questions. These are questions I've asked myself too. And I feel like you won't regret it. It'll really help you to know what place you're coming from, see if you really are being called, and then doing your due diligence and learning how to honor them in a respectful way. So hopefully you like this video. Much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And until the next video, bye.